Hey everyone, and welcome to today's show. Today I'm going to cover three of my favorite doubles tactics that I like to use on the court. And what I'm hoping that you'll get out of this is you will make some adjustments to how you play strategically, and you can start using these in your very next match because these are pretty simple to execute doubles tactics. It's more about kind of where you're hitting and how you're positioning yourself. And one of these will help you add an extra tool to your game as well. So these three tactics are actually from a new ebook that I just released last month called 25 Winning Doubles Tactics. And you can get that on the website. It has 25 tactics on serve, return, net play, approach, baseline play, and a lot more. And these are, what I'm going to share today is three tactics from that ebook. So this will be what I deem as probably the three most effective. So if this is enough for you, great. If you want more, go to thetennistribe.com and you can click on podcast or the improve section, and I'll make sure that we make it easy to find the ebook if you do want to purchase that. So I'm recording this on January 26th. You'll be listening to this next Wednesday. And this is the first episode I've recorded in a couple of months. If you remember, or if you've been following the show, we've been releasing a lot of interviews from World Team Tennis. So we released some interviews with several current pro players, including Caroline Dolehide, Alexa Guaracci, as well as some former pro players and coaches like Luke Jensen and Rick Leach, who have both won Grand Slam titles. So we've had a lot of great content, but I haven't actually talked to y'all in a couple of months. So lots happened since then, and I wanted to kind of run through a quick update before we dive into the three tactics. So December 1st, the USTA ratings came out. I got bumped up to a 5.0, which I was pretty excited about. It's been a goal of mine for the last several years. It was a little bit surprising, but I did finally make it. So I'm going to be playing a lot of 5.0 and open level tournaments this year. So that'll be a new fun challenge, and I'll let y'all know how that goes. We launched another new website about 2 weeks ago. I think it was January 12th. If you remember, we launched a new website last June, and that website wasn't working out for whatever reason. So we decided to build a new one again, and this one is doing well so far. So definitely go check that out. And then we have a lot of plans for 2022. A lot of stuff is going to be coming. One I've already mentioned, we have the 25 Winning Doubles Tactics ebook that I've released. I'm planning on creating probably 4, maybe 5 more of those through the course of the year. So it's going to be kind of a consolidated format of all of my best content. So we'll do one on serve strategy, return strategy, net play, baseline, maybe a mental one, things like that. So if you want to purchase those will be available as they're released. I'll be sharing them on the podcast like I'm doing here. We're going to start selling merchandise later this year on the website. I'm actually going to be launching a new Watch More Doubles t-shirt at Indian Wells with Gabby Dabrowski. So she is a top 20 WTA doubles player. And we had her on the podcast a long time ago. And she's been on the WTA Players Council. And I'm trying to help her, work with her to just grow doubles, like we've talked about a lot here on the podcast. So if you saw my shirt last year that I wore at Indian Wells, we're going to be selling those and launching those. So that'll be really exciting. We're going to have a lot of players at Indian Wells wearing the shirts, hopefully, and you'll be able to purchase that online. I'm planning on creating a few new courses. And then as far as free content, we're going to be releasing a lot more video content. Several of you have requested more video because some of you are visual learners, and it does help a lot. Some people are good at visualizing the court as I talk through this stuff on the podcast, but I know a lot of you want to be able to see something as well. So we're going to be releasing a lot more video content, and I've actually purchased a whiteboard that has a tennis court on it. So I'm really excited to shoot some videos with that and kind of show you the angles of the court and the positioning of the players and things like that. So it'll be a lot more helpful for those of you who are visual learners. So that is the plan for 2022. If you have any questions or requests about any of this, you can always email me, will@thetennistribe.com. But for now, let's dive into the 3 winning doubles tactics that I want to share with you today. So the first tactic is what I call the serve +1 in volley. Over the last 4 or 5 years, I've added the serve and volley to my game. I'm doing it a lot more than I was 5 years ago. I used to always serve and stay at the baseline. I feel like that's what most 3-5, 4-0, 4-5 level players do. They serve and stay at the baseline. And the serve and volley is a really useful tool to add to your toolkit. Now, there's a lot of doubles coaches and doubles players who say you have to serve and volley, and it is a little bit of kind of an old school mindset. I've talked about that with several guests on the show, including Rick Leach, who's won 9 Grand Slams. And yeah, you can still serve and stay back to win in doubles these days. But if you want to add an extra tool to your tool belt, like I said, the serve and volley is a great tool to have for players who are returning with a lot of depth against you, because then you're able to get forward in the court and you can take that first ball out of the air. But a lot of players aren't comfortable with the serve and volley because the half volley is a pretty difficult shot. So to develop that, what I started doing several years ago is started doing the serve +1 in volley. So if you've listened to the show for a while, you know what the serve +1 is. It's the third shot of the rally. I learned it from Craig O'Shaughnessy at Breaking Game Tennis. I'm not sure if he coined the term. I think it could have come from somewhere else, but he's definitely made it more popular. But if you can imagine, you hit a serve, the returns comes back, and that next shot, so this is your first shot after the serve, that's what we call the serve +1. So with the serve +1 in volley, to execute that, all you do is you hit your serve, you hit your ground stroke as the serve +1, and then you move forward to the net. So you're practicing your transition game to come forward to the net, but by waiting for the serve +1 ground stroke to come forward, you're buying yourself a little bit more time. So for people who aren't as comfortable transitioning to the net, this is a great way to practice that skill. The reason you're buying yourself more time is, there's several reasons. One, your serve is probably going to be faster than any ground stroke you hit. So the ball is going to move through the court faster and it's going to come back faster. So you don't have as much time to prepare for that half volley as you do if you approach after the serve +1. So you're buying yourself more time there. The best way to go about executing this is to hit your serve +1 high over the net, or some sort of slower shot. You can chip it. You can hit a slice. As long as it gets cross court and it gets back to the returner who is at the baseline. Now, if the returner returns in volleys, then this is going to be a tough one to execute, but not a lot of players return in volley, so this is going to be a good tactic in most scenarios. So hit that serve +1 high over the net if you can, or just a low slice, anything that kind of moves a little bit slower at a little bit slower pace to buy yourself some time. And as soon as you feel that ball off your racket, as soon as you know you hit a good shot with some decent depth to push the opponent back, you start to move forward. And when you start to move forward, that was my computer talking to me there. When you start to move forward, you will have plenty of time because you hit a slower ball, you hit with good depth, which push the opponent back, so that ball's got a lot more distance to travel. And you'll be able to get further into the court for that next volley versus a normal serve and volley. You'll be hitting that half volley from the service line or sometimes even a little bit behind it. So this is a great tactic if you're not comfortable with the traditional serve and volley and you're getting stuck in cross-court rallies that are a bad matchup. So if the opponent is a better ground stroke or baseline player than you, and you want to get to the net to kind of throw them off and apply a little pressure, then this is a great tactic to use. So the next tactic is a pretty basic one, and it's a really important one. I think it is going to be, it's probably one of the most effective strategies I see at the 3-0 to 4-0 level because not that many people do it, and it is the Mid Rally Poach. So the Mid Rally Poach is a tactic that is executed just like it sounds. It is a poach during a cross-court rally that your partner might be in. So for each one of these tactics, I already did it in the last one, but what I'm going over is what is the actual tactic, how do you execute it, and then what are the best times to use it. And in the ebook, it's got that for all 25 of them. So what is the mid-rally poach? It's simply put a poach during the rally. So your partner's in a cross-court rally, and you cross to kind of cut that ball off or force the opponent to hit a low percentage down the line shot. To execute this, it's good to vary your timing on the poach. A lot of coaches I've heard say, poach as soon as they start their swing or poach when they're about to make contact. It really depends, and I think it's good to vary your timing to keep kind of the opponent guessing. So sometimes it's good to poach early and let them see you and force an uncomfortable low percentage down the line shot. Or sometimes it's good to poach late as soon as they make contact so that you do cut that ball off and get a good volley. The best times to execute a mid-rally poach are going to be when you have a forehand in the middle. So your forehand volley is, for almost every player I watch, is going to be better than your backhand volley. You also have a little bit more reach with your forehand volley. Another great time is when the opponent is hitting a backhand. So for most people, their backhand is going to, A, be a weaker shot than the forehand, but B, and potentially more importantly, it is going to be moving slower. So it's a little bit easier for you to hit that volley. And if they do redirect it down the line, because it's slower, it's easier for your partner to cover that down the line shot. They have more time to get there because the backhand is going to be moving through the court a little bit slower. And then when the opponent is way back behind the baseline, that's another great time to poach. So in that case, you can either go early and force them to change direction and try to make a low percentage down the line shot. Like I said, your partner should be able to cover that because they're so far back behind the baseline. The ball's got a lot further to travel, so your partner has more time to get over there. And you can go early as well as they make contact. And you can do that because they have plenty of time, or because you'll have plenty of time to cross and to get that ball because they're so far back behind the baseline. So look for all these factors. See if they have a forehand or a backhand. See if they're off balance. See if they look uncomfortable. And then you also want to consider the quality of the ball that your partner hit. So if the opponent hits a ball that looks like a short ball and you know that your partner is about to get a short forehand, for example, then you can kind of anticipate that this is going to be a pretty good shot during this cross-court rally, and you can kind of get ready to poach on that next ball. So consider, the quality of the ball that your partner hit as well. Poaching late is a great strategy to really surprise them, like I said earlier. So if they're kind of in a rhythm cross court, you poach late, you cut off that volley. The easiest place to hit that volley is going to be back cross court short. A lot of players try to hit kind of an inside out volley in between the players or at the net player, which can work if you have that shot, but it's a little bit easier to just hit that volley back in the direction that it came from, but just hit a short kind of angle outside the court. And then when is the best time to use this mid rally poach? So a lot of players I see at that 3-0, 4-0 level aren't really comfortable at the net. They're not sure when to poach. And we've gone over some of that, but what you want to ask yourself is my partner in a bad matchup in that cross-court rally? So is the opponent going to win most of the cross-court rallies with my partner? If that's the case, then you need to be disruptive at the net, especially if your partner is getting stuck in those rallies and they're having trouble transitioning to the net. If that's the case, you're going to want to move a lot laterally at the net. So the mid rally poach is a great tactic to use in that case. And like I said, do it, if you're uncomfortable, do it mostly when your forehand's in the middle, when the opponent has a backhand, when they look off balance, and when they're back behind the baseline. So hopefully that helps. Definitely get out there and use that strategy. It's one of the best strategies you can use, and I don't see enough players at that club level using it, and you can really be disruptive during some of those longer kind of rally points. So the next strategy we'll cover is called the Middle Blitz. So in this ebook, the tactics that I've written out here, all 25 of them, they're broken up into serve tactics, return tactics, net play, baseline, and approach. So there's about 4 to 7 of each of them. And the Middle Blitz is the one I want to cover next, and that is an approach tactic. So what is the Middle Blitz? It's a full blitz, kind of a full attack through the middle of the court. So like I said, this is an approach tactic. So to execute this, you're going to need a short ball. So this is going to be during a rally or maybe on your serve +1 if the return is a little bit shorter in the court. You're going to have an approach shot. Ideally on your approach shot, you're going to be running around your backhand and you're going to hit a forehand. If you're more comfortable with your backhand, then go with that. But for most players, it's going to be a forehand that's your strength on these approach shots. And the way to execute this is to hit that forehand approach shot over that center net strap area through the middle of the court. Now, I see a lot of players when I go to these USTA League matches or tournaments, I see a lot of players get short balls, and A, they make too many errors because they're trying to hit a winner off the short ball, and B, too often they try to hit an angle from that approach shot or just blast it at the opposing net player, and they end up losing the point. And if you watch the pro doubles players, when they get a short ball, and for them, a short ball or an approach shot is going to be, anything inside the baseline. For you, it might need to be a little bit closer to the service line. But regardless, when you watch pro doubles, they're trying to hit those ground strokes that are a little bit shorter in the court when they can step in through the middle. We've talked about before how important it is to take over that middle net strap area in doubles. And this is one of the best ways to do that. So take your forehand approach shot, hit it over that middle net strap area. Make sure you hit it to the baseline player if possible. We don't want to be hitting it to the net player because hitting it to the baseline player will buy you time to get to the net. So hit with good depth if you can. Another good option is to slice it and keep it low over that middle net strap area. And some of those might land a little bit short, but that baseline player is going to be kind of reaching and leaning forward, and they're going to have to pop that ball up. So either one works. It depends on the player you're playing against, how quick they are, what they're comfortable with. And ideally you'll hit it through the middle of the court to a backhand. But sometimes the backhand's not there. Sometimes it's a forehand. So do the best you can to hit it through the center net strap area. And when you do, you follow the approach shot towards the net, and you and your partner will both kind of pinch towards the middle. Because you hit the approach shot through the middle of the court, you've taken away any angles that this baseline player has. So for them to hit a passing shot into the doubles alley from the middle of the court is going to require a pretty ridiculous shot. It's going to be very low percentage. If they beat you on it once, don't let that discourage you. Make them beat you on it 2 or 3 times, because I would imagine that they will miss the next 2 or 3 if they make one, because it is a very, very difficult shot that most players just do not have. So like I said, this is a great tactic for approaching the net, for taking over that middle net strap area. And one thing that I mentioned at the beginning that I really want you to focus on is not missing this approach shot. Don't go for too much on this. The goal is to set up the next shot, which should be a volley from close to the net, or an overhead if they lob it. So make sure you focus on hitting it solid with a high percentage through the middle of the court to that baseline player. Get forward, pinch the middle, and take over that area. So that's it for this episode. Those are the 3 tactics. Like I said, I chose these 3 because I feel like they are going to be the most effective for most of you listening to the show, whether you're a 3-0 player or a 4-0 player, or even higher. These 3 tactics are the things that I feel like I see most players kind of miss out on, or most opportunities to improve on. If you want the other 22 doubles tactics in the ebook, go to thetennistribe.com, click on podcast, and we will have this or a link to the full ebook for available for purchase in the show notes. So I will make sure that you can find it there. But like I said at the beginning, as always, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. My email is will@thetennistribe.com. And I'm looking forward to 2022. Thank you all for all the support in 2021. It was a great year, and I will talk to you in the next episode. If you want to become a smarter doubles player and start winning more matches, then join the Tennis Tribe Doubles Strategy newsletter. Every single Thursday, I'll send you a new doubles tip or tactic that you can use in your very next match. And when you join, you're going to get a free guide on how to play with more confidence and start dominating at the net in doubles. My name's Will. I'm the founder of the Tennis Tribe, and over the last 5 years, I've worked with players at every level of the game, from USTA 3.0 players all the way to Division I college programs, as well as some of the top 10 doubles players in the world. And on Thursdays, with this strategy newsletter, I share that knowledge and advice that I've gained over the years with you. So to sign up, you can go to thetennistribe.com. And again, you'll get that free net play guide when you join.